working amongst ourselves. So because you'll also agree that the people who are joining this session, they are also business owners like yourself. And this is also a very important networking opportunity that you have. So you should use this opportunity. You should network with the wonderful business owners who are part of this session. Now, how can you go about doing that? So you can start adding details about your business, like what is your company name, where are you located, what are the products or services that you're offering, and your contact detail. If you have a website, you should include the website link into that. And that should help the other participants who are here to connect and network with you. So I can see already people have started doing that. And because I'm sharing this suggestion, so I should also take the initiative. So what I'll do is I'll also open or I'll also share my details. Just give me 1 second. Let me just copy and paste them in the chat. So I'm going to share the details with everyone here in the chat. So this is how you can also share information with other participants who are joining this session. So what is the company name? What is your name? What is your designation if you want? And your email ID, contact number, what product or services you're offering. And in case there's a particular requirement, in case there is something that you're looking at, you should also mention that, because many times what we have seen that the participants who are joining the session, either they themselves happen to be supplier of that product or service that you're looking at, or they know someone. So we have many times seen that people were able to get into a transaction, they were able to strike a deal during the session itself, right? So let's use this time. We have 2 more minutes to go. And that's where I can see a few of the participants have already started using this opportunity. So let's continue to do that. So it is not like while we are discussing, we are waiting to start the session. You should do that. You can continue to do that during the session as well. Now, before I start sharing the presentation, and today's discussion is very important, so I'll request everyone to also stay back till the end, because that's where today's is a very, a very jam-packed sort of a session, because there are many topics that I'm going to cover in today's session. Will not go extremely technical, but what I have attempted to do is to make my presentation as descriptive as possible. And I'll be sharing the link of that presentation as well, because I understand a lot of participants who come to these webinars, they download my presentation and then later they go through it. Now, I had a personal interest in keeping as little text as possible in my presentations, but then I realized that the person who is downloading the presentation and trying to make sense out of it was struggling. So that's where I've tried to include as much description as possible in my presentation. So that is some difference that you'll see, especially if you have attended any of my previous webinars. So that was one thing. Now, how can you benefit the most out of these webinars? So please do ask questions, no matter how silly they are. So a lot of people have this psychological barrier that what will other people think if you're asking something. So don't worry on that. You also have an option to ask question as anonymous. So you can just select that option. No one will know, including myself. I'll also not know who has asked this question, but you'll be able to ask that question, because if you go back without asking that question, your time and my time is wasted, right? So let's value each other's time and try to get answers to all the questions that you may have. All right, so we are at 4:05 p.m. exactly. Now I'm going to start sharing my screen and we'll proceed ahead with the presentation. So in next few seconds, you'll start seeing my screen. And once again, warm welcome to all the participants who are joining us here today. Now, this is going to be an interactive session, so it is not like typically in webinars, a lot of time, once the webinar has started, we get back into watching reels on Instagram or doing anything else. There's going to be an interactive session, so I'll keep asking, I'll keep seeking your opinion, and we'll try to learn something together today. All right, so let's get started. In next few seconds, you'll start seeing my screen, and we'll get started with the presentation. Just give me a few seconds. Let's hide this. So, and why it hasn't gone full screen. Yeah. So let's start with the presentation here today. This is another change that you'll see because I typically also review the recordings of my webinars. And that's where one thing that I noticed is that sitting for 45 minutes or 50 minutes or sometimes 60 minutes and just looking at a very bright white screen is not a very pleasant experience. I've tried to use it very subtle color scheme in the presentation so that it is also not visually very taxing. It is not taxing or stressful on your eyes. All right. So let's start. Firstly, who can benefit the most from this webinar? Business owners or executives, especially if you have that urge, if you have that zeal to grow your business digitally, you'll be able to benefit from today's webinar. Businesses who have already digitized their business, so you have created your digital catalog, a website for your business, so you'll definitely benefit. And third is businesses eager to implement new ideas. These other two things will, or three attributes that will benefit the most. And then how to benefit from this webinar the most. First is, as I mentioned earlier as well, you'll have to attend till the end. The second is you have to network fully. So that is a networking opportunity I was referring to. Third is interact as much as possible. So interact when I say, if you have a question, ask that question. And if there's anything that I'm seeking your opinion on, try to share your opinion as well. And the fourth one is ask as many questions as possible. Whatever is not clear to you, you should ask that question. All right, so let's also understand what are going to be the discussion points in today's presentation. So firstly, we'll understand about readiness check. How ready is your website, your digital catalog, or your e-commerce website, whatever name or you would want to call it, how ready it is for you to start digitally marketing, because that's the cornerstone. Many times I've come across people who came to me and they start sharing that they're not getting results. And when we evaluated, we found out that there were so many issues with their website itself. Even if they had spent $1 million there, they would not have got a lot of results there. So how ready you are, your platform is ready. That's what we'll start with. Analytics, how you can analyze it. Then we'll go on to search engine optimization. Then we move on to email marketing, social media marketing, content marketing, influencer marketing, Google Ads, and then question answer. That's where we'll break into the question answer round and any question that you have added. So you don't have to essentially wait till the end to ask your questions. So whatever is coming to your mind, you can keep adding that to Q&A. And when we'll break into the Q&A section, that's where I'll answer that, right? So let's move on to the first topic, and that is readiness check. Now with readiness, there is another dimensions as well. So it is like you have to evaluate how ready you are. You want to go on a bike ride to Ladakh, right? But you have to evaluate which bike do you have, whether it is like mechanically sound and whether you are yourself physically sound because lack of oxygen, etc., etc. Right? So you have to do that readiness check. Otherwise, it can be hazardous. It can be life-threatening as well. Now, similarly, there's another side of the coin as well, right? So sometimes you can get over fascinated with readiness and you can just simply keep working on fixing this, fixing that. You're working like crazy on fixing those issues and you are wasting time. So always understand, yes, it is necessary that you have to be ready, reasonably ready, because there's no like end, because it is like perfection. You can never be perfect. There will always scope to do better. Similarly, you cannot be absolutely ready, right? So there will always be some scope to do better. What you have to strive for is to be reasonably ready, and that's where you should move on. Now, there is one interesting case study I just sort of sharing with you related to readiness. And why readiness? Because this is something which has hurt this company significantly, because many of you may be knowing that they were the ones who invented the digital camera, but they were not able to excel because they focused on the conventional business a lot. They were not able to evolve on time, and then uh, have the lion's share of the market. But more importantly, where they've missed out, if you have to sum that out in a sentence, so that was they didn't thought that the market was ready for digital cameras, and that mistake on the readiness part cost them a lot. So one side is that you have to be reasonably ready. Second is don't get over fascinated with it. All right, so let's move on and let's try to understand readiness check that you can do on your digital catalog. Now, digital catalog is something that we'll be using in today's presentation. And in case you're getting confused, what is a digital catalog? So digital catalog is simply your website, which is also sharing information about the products or services that you're offering, right? So it has information about your organization as well as information about the product or services that you are offering, right? So that is digital catalog. So your catalog, which is digitized now, which contains both the information. All right. Now, if you have to do the readiness check, if you have to evaluate how you'll be, whether you are ready or not, how can you do that? So there are like two sides to this. And let me just turn on the highlighter as well. Just give me a second. So this is where I have provided few checklists, which are hyperlinked here. So when you'll download the presentation, you'll get these checklists, and you'll be able to use these checklists to understand how ready is your website. Right? So I'll just very briefly, without spending a lot of time there, I'll just briefly show you these checklists. So these are basically Google Sheets which are there. So you can use them, and as you're going through them, you can keep just ticking them. So that should help you quickly evaluate without spending a ton of time there. And understand how ready you are. And it will also help you understand which are the areas where you are lacking, so that you can do the fixes and then you can get yourself ready. So this is this left side where you have all the checklists which are available. On the right side of the screen, you have performance tools. So there are different tools which you can use. So for example, there's a tool called Google Page Speed. This is Page Speed Insight. So this is where you can put the URL, the link of your website onto that, and then it will tell you how good is the load speed of your website and what are the issues and how you can fix them. Similar is GT Matrix, and there is a Lighthouse which you can use. So these are the resources. There are many more, but I've used or proposed the popular ones. Then content checklist. There is one tool which is called Plagiarism Checker. This is an important tool these days. There's one more tool which has come up because plagiarism is obviously an issue that you have to look out on. And the second issue is about AI created content. That is another thing that you have to look out on. Now, how does plagiarism checker come into play here? Understand a lot of people, when they are thinking about getting a website built, what they do is they rely entirely on the agency. So build the website, build the content, select the images, do everything. Now, there are a lot of good agencies that do fantastic job. They do a phenomenal job, and they create wonderful content. They put in like real effort creating all that. And there are agencies that cut corners, and there are many such agencies that cut corner. And one of the easier way when it comes to creating content, because creating content is like writing. Now, how many of us are extremely good at writing? Very few, right? So, and original writing as well, right? So we are not just trying to copy someone or get inspiration, some original thing. A lot of us can't do that. So that's where what the corner cutting is done, is that they'll just copy the content from somewhere else. It is a very beautifully written content, and it is added to your website. You are extremely pleased that, hey, we have done a very nice job. They'll give them a pat on the back, but actually they have stabbed you in the back, because understand this content will never let you rank, because search engines are not stupid. They are able to identify that the person has stolen the content from somewhere else. And would you like to promote a thief? No, you'll not. Same goes with search engines also, right? So that is also important, that Unfortunately, if it has happened with you, you can at least detect that and then you can fix that issue. There are content analysis tools. So this is part of SEO review tools. These are available. So that also helps you understand from the search engine perspective how good or bad your content is, and do that. And then you have AI content detector. Now, the change which has happened after the advent or after the introduction of AI tools, especially related to content creation, is that now anyone and everyone can write very beautiful content, right? Including myself. So that's where sorry. So that's where a lot of people have started using AI content. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, in one of my previous webinar, I have shown to the world that this is how it is done. But what you have to ensure that your content is not getting flagged as AI created content. So you just go to one of the AI creation tool and you created your content, and then immediately you added it to your website, you'll definitely get caught. There are AI content can easily be tracked. So what you have to do is to re-paraphrase it, and you have to ensure that it is not getting flagged. It is being treated as human created content. So again, another fix that you have to keep in mind. And then there are SEO checklists which are available. So Google Search Console is one of the Google's tools which you can use. Then SEO site checkup, SEO review tools, SME Rush, Screaming Frog for SEO. There are a lot of tools which are available. I've listed down a few of them. Now, these are all hyperlinked, so you'll get the link also in the presentation. All right, so let's move on to the next part of our discussion, that is analysis. Now, when we are discussing about analysis, sorry, let me just sip a little bit of water. So a lot of time when I'm interacting with SMEs or otherwise, many times people come to me with a complaint that we have put in a lot of effort, we have invested into our website, into our e-commerce store or digital catalog, and it is not doing anything for us. It is not generating sales or leads. So can you please look into it? And that's where, obviously, when we investigate, we ask them question that, okay, how much traffic is coming to your website? They don't have any clue. What is your bounce rate? They don't know. What is the average time people are spending on your website? They don't know. What is the page per session, or how many pages are getting viewed per session? They don't know, because they are not analyzing what is happening on your website. Now, let me explain it with a slightly more real world sort of an example, which all of us can relate to it. So what are you seeing on the right side of the screen? This is a supermarket, right? Now, if you have this kind of a view of the supermarket, then you can track that how many people are coming, how many customers visited, how much time did they spend on the store, what product did they review, which product did they ordered, what is the conversion rate. So all that information, so all that information is available to you. Then you can easily track the performance, what is performing, what is not performing. Probably you'll have to move these shelves somewhere here to increase the conversion, or you'll have to move these veggies somewhere forward to increase the conversion. So all that kind of analysis, in which sections are getting less footfall, which are getting more footfall, or your store is not getting any footfall, that's why the sales are not happening. So unless you are looking at it, unless you are seeing it and you are tracking it, monitoring it, only then you are able to take those corrective actions, right? It is extremely important. Unfortunately, when it comes to website, a lot of people don't do that. This is something that you have to check on a daily basis, that how many people came to your website yesterday. How can I increase that? So if 100 people came to my website, how can I make it 101, or how can I make it 200, right? That should be your focus. And out of those 100, what did they do? Which page did they go? How much time did they spend? Because if someone is coming, if like million people are coming to your website and they're bouncing off, they are just coming to the website and going away, it is not resulting to you anything happening on your website, right? So these metrics are extremely important for you to track. How do you track? So this is where we have Google Analytics, which is a Google's free tool, which is available, which can easily be integrated with your online store. So you can use that. Then you have Google Tag Manager. Now, it is not a analytics tool or a tracking tool, but a lot of stuff that you'll be doing on Google Analytics or any other tool. For example, if you want to use Microsoft Clarity, which is an amazing tool, it helps you basically see how your customer is going through the website, right? So you install Microsoft Clarity, which can be done using Google Tag Manager. And then you'll be able to have sort of a video camera onto your customer's journey. So you'll be able to see each page view, each click that is happening, how your website is performing on the mobile, on the desktop, and how your customer is navigating, where they're getting stuck, what they're reading. All that will be possible. That's why I've included my Google Tag Manager here, because Google Analytics depends on it. Any other tracking tool, analysis tool that you'll be using will also be powered by this. And then we have finally the Google Search Console. Now, Google Search Console is actually not a analysis tool, but what it helps you is understand every page wise how they're performing, how many pages are getting indexed, how many pages are not getting indexed, what are the issues with the search engine, and that will help you grow organically. It will help you increase the traffic which is coming from the search platform. All right, so what are the elements that you have to track? And this is where, see, I've made a very descriptive presentation here, because now, even if you're looking at it 1 month down the line, you'll be able to make out what each term means. So the first thing that we have to track is how many people came to our website, right? So on a daily basis, how many people are coming, from where they are coming. So all that we have to track. Then what is the bounce rate? Bounce rate is extremely important. Bounce rate is basically you came to a website and then you realize, oh, wrong website. You're just going away, right? So for example, you're strolling in a mall, and that's where you accidentally turned and you entered a wrong store, and then you realize, oh, wrong store, and then you're immediately going out. That is the sort of experience with bounce rate. So this is where what happens a lot of time when your bounce rate is high, you'll have a lot of traffic, but it will not convert into anything. So that's where it is extremely important that your bounce rate is low. If your bounce rate is high, that means wrong type of people are coming to your website. It does not benefit you. If your bounce rate is low, that's where right traffic is coming to your website, or the people who are coming to your website immediately, they are not feeling that it is the wrong website that I have entered. Then you have conversion rate, how many people came and how many orders did that converted into. So you'll be able to understand. Now, this conversion rate is extremely important, because tomorrow, if you are aspiring that I should receive 100 orders in a month, then you should be able to do a back calculation that I want to receive 100 orders in a month, and my conversion rate is, let's say, 20%. So how many people do I have to bring in to receive 100 orders, right? So you have that conversion rate. Now, conversion rate is again not like a very scientific thing. So today you have 20%, tomorrow it may drop down to 15% or increase to 25%. So it keeps varying, but assumingly that is an average conversion that you're receiving, you should be able to do a fair amount of calculation in terms of how much traffic you want, which will help you achieve your sales targets or your lead generation targets, etc. Then you have time on site. That is how much time the people are visiting or spending on your site. Now, low time on site means the people are coming and they are reviewing something and then they are leaving. If you have high time on site, that means your website is extremely engaging and people are spending a lot of time on your website and then moving on to whatever actions that you have planned for them to do. Pages per session means how many pages a person is going through in one session. So I come to the website, from home page, I go to category page, product page, how many product pages, and then I made that decision. So that is, then the bottom three are extremely important ones. One is user behavior flow. And this is where you have to track the user behavior. So for example, I was giving you that illustration that if I came to a website and that's where I went from home page to category page and to the product detail page, then to the cart page and then to the checkout page. So there is an entire journey that I'm going through here to there, right? Now, during that journey, where am I getting stuck? What are those elements that I'm interacting with, and how those elements can be improved. That will significantly help you improve the overall conversions, right? So you have a journey. Now you have to make that journey, right? So you have, for example, you have a road that you have to go through from a destination 1 to 2. So, for example, Delhi to Jaipur. So, you're going through, in older days, it was like a single lane road which was there from Delhi to Jaipur. Now it was 4 lane. Now it is 6 lanes, right? So you're making it better so that that conversion, that journey can be made better. That kind of a thing that you have to work on. Now, this is slightly one step further to the tracking. So obviously the other 5 parameters that you were seeing, those were the parameters that you have to track. This is where you have to specifically understand how is the user behavior flow, and then make tweaks to it. And then you have funnel visualization. This is basically leaky bucket exercise that you have to do. So leaky bucket is like you have a bucket, and then you have to figure out where the leaks are. So you have, let's say, 100 people coming to your website, and they are converting into, let's say, 2 orders. So from 100 to 2, where all they are dropping off. So, right, so 100 came to your website, then some dropped off on category page, some dropped off on product page, and some dropped off on checkout. So where all those drops are happening, and you try to minimize those drops, or you plug that gap so you don't have a leaky bucket. That is funnel visualization in simple terms, and also a very important activity that you should do on an ongoing basis. This is not like a one-time fix. It is an ongoing basis, because you cannot absolutely plug that bucket. Yeah, you'll always have leaks, but you can reduce that leak. Landing pages. So landing pages is another activity that you have to work on. Again, it is not a tracking parameter, but you have to understand what are the landing pages, where all customers are coming to your website, and then you try to improve those landing pages so that you make them sticky and improve the conversions. So these are the elements that you have to track, and how you have to track is also mentioned in the presentation. All right, let's move on to the next topic, that is search engine optimization. And like, I interact with a lot of people, and almost everyone that I interact with is very overly fascinated with search engine optimization. So that's why it is extremely important that you do this sensibly. Let's understand what is search engine optimization. So in simple term, you're improving your ranking on the search. So if someone is looking for a particular term, firstly, you should be found, and then how you can be found on the first page. That is essentially what you are trying to achieve in common man's language. Now, what all does search engine optimization include? It starts with a keyword research, that what are the important keywords which are relevant to you. Then you have on-page optimization. This is where you have to optimize the content which is there on your website. So on the front end as well as back end, like meta content, etc. So you have to optimize that. Then you have content creation. So this is where you have to also parallelly keep creating content like blog articles, etc. Then you have technical SEO. This is for ensuring that there's a error-free experience which is there. Then you have link building exercise. Now, one of the very easy thing that you can do towards link building, and everyone in the audience can do that, is to have a active social media profile. It can be on Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you want. But if you have an active social media profile, and that's where you're actively doing posts about your products, you're sharing the link and you're creating a backlink, right? Just imagine that one post every day, 30 days, you'll be able to create 30 backlinks, right? So very important or easy resource, but not properly utilized. And then you can have multiple social media channels, and you can like imagine how many backlinks you can generate very easily, like spending 1 hour in a day, you'll be able to do that. And you don't have to do it. One of your executive, or you can hire an intern who can do that. Track results, that is another important aspect, because this is something, unless you are tracking, you'll not be able to understand like whether you are heading in the wrong direction or not. So tools you can use for search engine optimization. Now, this is where I understand you are a business owner and you're not expected to be an expert in search engine optimization. So I'll be sharing in the entire presentation or entire session things which can be done by an ordinary or a common individuals, right? So these are the tools which you can use for your search engine optimization activity. The first bit is keyword research, and that's where I have listed out a few of the tools which you can use. Then you have on-page optimization. That's where bunch of tools are listed which you can use. Content creation, so I've used text as well as visual creation tools which are there. Then technical SEO, these are the tools which you can use. Link building, there's BuzzStream, Hunter, Raven, Link, Google Alerts, etc. And then you have tracking tools, Google Analytics and Search Console. So these are tools which you can use for search engine optimization activities, and how you have to do in the previous presentations. I've listed down the 6 steps that you have to follow to do that. Email marketing. Email marketing is simply sending out emails about promotional activities or product launches, etc., that you are doing on your website. Now, it essentially does not have to be about product launches or promotions that you're running. It can be about the progress that you have made. So, for example, a lot of technology companies in the services sector, they send an updates about the new features that they have introduced or a new venture they have rolled out, etc. Right? So it is just keeping the customers informed that, hey, you're in the touch, they remember you. There's a recall, so whenever they have a requirement, they can immediately recall that, hey, there is this brand I actively keep getting emails from, and then whenever they have a requirement, they can reach out to them. Now, there's a personal life example. So there was one gentleman I met many years ago, almost 6-7 years ago, and every festival they send me a greeting. So I haven't spoken to them in last 7 years, but every festival, whether it is Diwali or Christmas or New Year, they keep sending greetings, their wishes. So despite the fact that I haven't spoken to that gentleman in 7 years, but if there is a requirement for their products or services, immediately I have that brand, I have that recall that that person is there. And if there's a requirement, or if someone asks me, do you know a person who deals in that, I'll be able to do that, right? So that's the power of email. It is a simple email, and he does not send those fancy season's greeting. It is a very simple with a nice message and regards, etc. Right? So just that simple email is very powerful in keeping that brand recall. Now, that was just about keeping in touch and someone remembering you that you are there. Now, in addition to that, if you want people to do certain actions, so this is a very powerful tool which is used, and email marketers have gone like extremely creative with the title. A lot of times you'll receive an email with a subject line, your credit card is on the way, and immediately you are intrigued what has happened. I haven't applied for a credit card, right? So you are inclined to open that, and then you realize that someone is offering you an email. So those are, email marketers have gone extremely creative with that, but it is a very powerful tool. If they're doing all that creativity, it is a tool which is effective as well. So it is not like they're simply doing it and no one is actually acting onto it. Yes, people are acting, it is getting results. That's why there is so much action happening on that front. So it's a very powerful tool and a very old tool. It existed even before e-commerce started, etc. Right? Now, how do you go about doing email marketing? So firstly, you have to build an email list. Now, when it comes to building an email list, there are 2 ways in which you can, or I would say there are 3 ways in which you can go about it. One is you already have an email list, which you can start sending, which is the best. Second is there are a lot of agencies out there from whom you can acquire those lists. quality varies, right? So some are entirely absolutely fraud, so you'll not get anything. So evaluate, try out a sample, and then understand what is the accuracy, and then have that kind of a payment term that you're able to hold on to something. Because a lot of time what has happened that people have bought the list from someone, the sample they gave was extremely good, but when the actual data came in, it was all garbage. So deal with that very cautiously. The third one is unlearn screen scraping, and then screen scraping the data and creating the uh, emailing list. If screen scraping is uh, something that you'll have to learn, there are a lot of tools which are available. There are free tools which are available which you can use. It will require some amount of learning on your part, but if you're able to learn that, you'll be able to do a lot of this activity of screen scraping or extracting email information from different websites and using them. You'll be able to do that very easily. So that is building an email list. Then you have segment your list. So you have to divide them into lists. Now, a lot of time when we have a list, so for example, we have a list of 10,000 customers, we are very, very inclined to send it out to all the 10,000, right? But it would be better that you divide them and then you understand which one is. So if there are like logical divisions that you can do, for example, on gender, male, female, or based on locations, etc., or if you have demographic information, you can do that as well. And then you'll be able to understand which one is performing better. So you're sending it out and you're expecting certain action. But in addition to that, if you're segmenting, you'll be able to understand how they are behaving. And plus, when you're segmenting it out, you'll not be like doing everything in one go. So you'll send it to segment A, understand how it performed, make the changes in, and then send it out to segment B, see how it performed, and then to C. So that will help you keep improving rather than like doing one shot, then realizing, hey, it worked. And then when you'll send it again, but to the same base, it may amount for spamming and you may not get the desired result. So break it out into different segments and then send it. Compelling content, I gave you that example of credit cards, etc. So that was just an example on a lighter note, but this is where you have to be extremely conscious of the fact that the attention span is very low. Right? Every day there are like hundreds of emails that any person receives. So unless the subject line or the content that you have added is very compelling and very engaging, the person will not even open, right? So that is another thing that you can use. And now we have AI tools which you can use, which can help you create compelling content. So this is another frontier where you can now easily use AI tools and you don't have to be worried about. Sorry, I accidentally moved to another slide. Then you have the fourth point, which is a good email service provider. So this is another very important aspect because you're spending your money and that money should get you business. And if it is not getting you that business, it is a loss for you. It is your money wasted. Now, how do you ensure? So you have to understand the performance and ask them for a demo, etc., or can understand from your friends or friends of friends if someone has used their service, how is their feedback, etc., right? To try doing that research, because what can happen is that you have a very nice email list, you have very what do you call it, very good quality email list, and then you have a fantastic email, a beautiful design and written email, but because your service provider is not good, you'll not get the desired result. Now, how will that affect you? That might be a question coming to your mind, because if the email service provider is not good, these emails will not go into the inbox, they'll go into the junk folder, right? Entire waste of money. So that's where ensure that the email service provider is good. Test and optimize. This is related to the second point that I was explaining to you, but this is also something which is not like a short. So you drafted an email and that is end of it. Now you can continue to use for years and years. Absolutely not. Every email that you're sending has to be optimized. So you have to learn from the previous email that you have sent, try to improve in the next one, and then improve it again on the next one. So every time you're sending it out, you are making improvements to it, right? That is a everlasting process that you are into. So every time you are sending, trying to make it better from the previous one that you have done. It is not necessary that you have to make significant improvement. Even if you're making like 1 or 2% of improvement over the period of time, you'll be able to improve significantly. And lastly, track and analyze. So always track how they're performing, what kind of open rate you're receiving, what kind of click-through rates are you are receiving, and what are the actual conversions you are doing. Whenever you're adding links, so every email will have a call to action, right? Click here and sign up now. Those kind of emails. So you should have a tracking link. You can generate it from Google Analytics, and you'll be able to track how many people actually clicked on it and how many converted onto it. So you'll be able to understand the performance of that email. All right, so that was about email marketing. Now, what are the tools which you can use? So here are a few of the tools which you can use, and many of them offer a free trial or a free package which can be used. So first one is MailChimp, which is a very popular platform. Then we have Send in Blue. Then we have Constant Contacts, Benchmark Emails, and then Send Pulse. Different solution providers, you can evaluate them, and whichever suits you better, and use them. Moving on, we have the next item, which is social media marketing. Now, social media marketing is something which everyone is familiar with in some form or manner, because all of us have our social media account, but many people don't do it. And they don't even have social profiles for their businesses. And that is something which is surprising, because this is a very powerful tool that everyone should utilize. Now, a lot of time people say to me that, hey, we are in a B2B business, we are in an industrial product space, and you're recommending to us to be on social media. I say, yes, absolutely. Why should you not be on social media? I mean, you go to social media, you'll come across profiles and pages from the companies that are into extremely technical products, and they still have a presence on social media. And the reason is that one is the backlink advantage that you are getting. Second is it is creating visibility around your business. So if someone is searching for you, they may not come across your website because your website is not optimized, but they can come across your social media post, right? So it is extremely important that you are having social media presence in form of pages, and not just having a presence, right? So don't create a profile for the sake of it, because Adnan said that you should have a profile. You have created the profile. Please don't do that. Create a profile and then create a calendar, create a schedule that every day or every week or every 15 days, I'll be adding something to my social media. Well, it is not very difficult. A lot of time when I'm having this discussion, people get scared. They say that how we are extremely busy, we'll not be able to manage. You're looking, or you're conceiving it to be a very intensive activity. I understand it is not that much. All you have to do is you have to pre-plan for it. You have to do it in a systematic way. If you're like doing it on the fly, right? So what should we post this week? If you're doing like this, then obviously it is a very stressful thing, because you're stressed to think for it. Do it in a systematic way, create a calendar, and then follow that calendar. So for example, every week you are doing a post, you can decide in advance what all posts you will be doing, what content will be there, what imagery will be there, what text will be there, and decide all that, spend 2 hours onto it, and then you are sorted for a month. All you have to do is to go and post, which will take like 5 minutes, right? So that is how easy it is, but it is just like we have to do it in a systematic manner. All right. Social media marketing, I don't think I have to read the textual explanation or the social media marketing. We are all very familiar with it. This is where you are marketing it on the social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. Now, how can you do the social media marketing? This is where it is extremely important that you define your goals. What are you trying to achieve? Because your goal may be to get orders, or your goal may be just to generate awareness about what you're doing. So it is extremely important that you should have that goal very clear in your mind, and based on that, everything follows. Because unless the goal is very clear, unless the goal is not clear, you'll not be able to define the next step. So this like you want to go somewhere, unless your destination is not clear, you'll not be able to figure out how you should go there. Right. So that's where define that goal, what you're trying to achieve. There can be like two different goals, right? So for one goal, you'll do this, one goal, you'll do that. It is not necessary that you'll just have one goal. I don't think anyone has one goal in their life. There are multiple things that we are trying to achieve, and same is true with organizations as well, right? So define those goals, and for each goal, draw out the journey. Now, after you have defined the goal, the next very important thing that you have to do is to know your audience. This is where you have to understand and define your audience very well. This is where, if you haven't defined your audience very well, you'll end up burning money on social media. A lot of businesses have done that in past. They assumed that this was their customer's profile, but actually their customer was different, and that's where they were like going the wrong way, where their customer was here and they were there. So that is another thing which you have to do, that you have to define your customer profile. Now, again, because we have AI tools, so that is where you can also seek help from AI tools, and that can help you define. So you can just write a brief to an AI tool, and I've personally tested that. So I give it a brief. This is the business. This is the work that do. This is the objective. Can you please help me create a customer profile? And it was nearly there. It was not precise. It was not like 100%, but 80% it was there, right? So in case you're getting worried that what Adnan is asking is very technical, will not be able to do that. So don't get stressed. You can just use chat GPT and it will do 80% of your work, and then you can obviously make it better. Choose the right platform. This is where you have to understand where your customer is. So for example, if you're into a industrial welding machines, the larger ones, where should you be? LinkedIn, that is going to be a profile. Or if you are into home decor products, then obviously Instagram and Facebook. So that is the decision that you have to make. You have to ensure that you are on the right platform. If you're not on the right platform, again, you'll keep spending, but because your customer is not there, you'll not be able to generate the right amount of traffic from there. Having said that, because I was proposing to you that you should have social media profiles, so it is it does not mean that you should only have social media pages where your customer is. Absolutely not. You can have social media pages on all the profiles. I have seen people dealing in industrial products. They sell walls, those industrial walls that we use, not the ones we use for our home pipelines, but the industrial ones. Then they have Facebook profiles, and they do a lot of content there. Right. So you have to be on all the platforms, as many as possible. It also depends on, because you have to create content for each platform. So you have to be there on as many platforms as possible. But when it comes to advertising, that's where you're spending your hard-earned money. So you have to be absolutely sure that this is where. Now, it is not necessary that what your assumption is will be absolutely correct. It may be wrong, right? You're assuming that your customer is there. They may not be there. They may be on other platforms. So this is where you have to be little open to that fact. Create a valuable content, that is understood that you have to create valuable content. Now, it does not just imply that you have to create good quality content on your website. The advertisement that you're doing, right? So the products that you're displaying, the information that you're adding to the product, the text that you're adding, all that you have to ensure that it is very appealing. So any person who is looking at it, especially your target customer, they're immediately attracted to look into that. Plan and schedule your posts. So this is where you have to do it systematically. Don't just rush into it. Plan out everything and do them in a scheduled manner rather than running like 4 campaigns together. At a later stage, you can run as many as possible, because that's where you have gained that much insights, etc. But on an initial stage, it is better that you are trying out, you're doing a A/B testing. So you do something, do another thing, evaluate how the first one performed, how the second one performed, what was the type of traffic that you received, what was the bounce rate, etc. And then how the second one performed, compare them, take what worked from both of them, create a third one, like that. Engage with the followers. This is not directly part of marketing activity, but this is where it sort of joins back with a comment that I made a little ago. Is where I suggested to you that don't have a profile just for the sake of it, because I proposed to you that you should have a profile. You should have a profile because you want to have a social media profile, and it should be an active profile. So it should not be like once in 6 months you're going there and making a post. New year you added a post and you'll come back next year on the new year to add a post. You shouldn't do that. It should be an active profile, and that's where you should try to keep engaged with your followers, so you can keep having posts, polls, etc. with your followers to seek their feedback. And whenever they are sending out messages or they are adding a comment, those should be read and responded to. Measure and analyze, that is needless to mention, so I'll not spend time there. And continuously improve, that is extremely important, that always keep evaluating how things are performing and how can you make that work better. Always have this fundamental fact clear in your mind. It is a leaky bucket that you're dealing with. You cannot plug it. Absolutely, if you're able to do that, that will be phenomenally amazing, but practically speaking, it cannot be like absolutely watertight. There will be gaps, but how can you fill those gaps? That is what we are trying to improve. So keep improving every day. So it is not like there's no top of Mount Everest that you'll be achieving. It is a climb that we are constantly doing. So every day is a new step that you're taking. All right, here are a few of the tools that you can use. Canva is a very old tool that we all have used. Microsoft Designer is something that is a very powerful AI tool, and it is like a magical thing. You have to just tell it what needs to be created, and it will create it for you. Adobe Express is a free tool from Adobe, fairly powerful one you can use. And then you have Post Genius. So Post Genius basically helps you in creating your social media posts. I have deliberately kept it here. A lot of people came to me with a question that, okay, we want to have an active social media profile, but it is very stressful for us to write all that thing that has to go there. You can even give it a product link and it will write the post for you, right? So that is how powerful it is. Then you have Copy AI. It is a relatively old AI tool, not as phenomenal as the other ones which are out here today, but works. We have Write, we have Buffer, and then we have HubSpot. Now, how you might be wondering how HubSpot is. In case you're familiar with HubSpot, it is a very popular sales and CRM solution. So HubSpot also has a social media management tool which can be used. So it helps you basically plan out your campaigns, your ad campaigns, etc., and execute them very well. So it's a very powerful tool which you can use. Then we have content marketing, and this is where you're creating content and then you're trying to generate traffic onto your website through content marketing. And how do you do content marketing? So this is where, again, you have to identify your target audience, whom the content is focused on. You have to do a audience research. to have a better understanding about your content, their preferences, etc. Identify your goals, right? So this is the audience that we want to target, and this is what we want to achieve from them. Choose your channels, how you'll be decimating that content that you're creating, or how you'll be transmitting that content. Create a content strategy, produce high quality content, which is also not a very big challenge these days, especially because of the AI tools. Promote your content. So even if you have to do a little bit of paid advertising to promote that content, you should consider doing that. So this is where, for example, you wrote a blog article, so you can consider promoting it. So it is not like you have just written a blog article. You can send it as part of an email to your email base, right? So that is not a very high level email marketing, not a high level marketing activity, but still it will help you promote that content, get more visibility. So instead of 100 people who are visiting your website, reading or going through that content, probably 10,000 people who are there in your email list, they'll be able to go through that, and then it will bring more traffic to your website, and that it can also lead to more orders on your website. When people are coming to your website for consuming that content, they are just one click away from placing an order as well, right? So promote your content as well, and then measure and analyze. That is an ongoing activity that you have to do. Now let's quickly move on to the content marketing tools that you can do. So there's a BuzzSumo, there are a bunch of tools that I've listed here, which you can use for topic research, then for creating that content. And this is where textual content I'm referring to. So that can be created using these tools, which I've listed here. I've also listed undetectable AI, in case you're wondering why I have it listed here, because all this content which you are creating here using AI tools will get detected as AI content, and which will affect your search engine ranking. So you can use this powerful tool to ensure that your content is not getting flagged. Then you have a bunch of designer tools which you can use. Then you have video editing tools which are available here, which you can use. And then you have a few platforms from where you can download stock images or videos. So it may or may not require attribution. So there are certain platforms like Pixel which does not require attribution, or they have an open licensing policy. So anything that you are downloading from there, you can openly use it, no attribution or no credits required. But other platforms may require credits, so you have to be slightly conscious of that fact. But I've provided all the resources that are required to create good quality content. Now coming to influencer marketing, and this is a very powerful medium that is coming up. And this is again, if you look at this is again going back to our human psychology. So, for example, if you are wanting to buy a car, and obviously there's a big auto manufacturer, and they have hired the best celebrities to promote that vehicle, but still, when you're buying that car, you'll try to have opinions from your friends and family, especially the one who has the same car, how it is performing, etc., or their opinion, or someone in the family who's very familiar with, who's an auto enthusiast. You'll try to have their opinion, or you'll go to YouTube and watch videos or reviews from certain influencers and their opinion. And many times people even directly message them to have their feedback on how good that particular vehicle is, whether they should buy it or not, right? So this where instead of just listening to what the brand or the company or the corporation is saying, you are relying your decision on what a human is saying. And it is a human psychology. You're not just listening to what you're seeing from a particular medium. You want to listen from a fellow human being. So that is the premises of influencer marketing. Now, if you're someone who is especially in a B2C kind of environment where you're directly retailing it to the customer, or in a B2C environment, this is a very powerful tool that you can use. Now, when it comes to influencer marketing, a lot of people have, again, a very myopic opinion or a myopic vision of it. So when I say myopic vision, it means that you're not looking at the bigger picture. You're just considering certain digital influencers to be influencers, right? Now, you have to look at it from a different perspective. Influencer is someone who influences a buying decision, right? That is the definition of influencer. That someone who can influence and turn that decision in your favor is an influencer. Now, whether it is Mumbaikar Nikhil or it is your next door neighbor Rahul, that is a different story. But whosoever is doing that is the influencer, right? Now, this is where, when it comes to influencer marketing, they have like a very straightforward thinking that we have to hire influencer, and these influencers also charge like a bomb. So a lot of brands or businesses are not even able to use this properly. Now, where they are sort of not doing it right is that influencer does not have to be a celebrity. Obviously, if you can hire a celebrity, nothing like that. That is something that you should do, but it is not necessary that it has to be a celebrity, right? So you can have one of your customers as one of the influencers. You can have a video feed from them, and that you can promote, or you can have a lot of influencers from them. So rather than having one influencer, you can have 1 lakh influencers, and then have them promote your product, right? So, for example, a lot of businesses do that, and people in direct selling space do that. So, if you think that instead of having one influencer who is talking to, like, say, 50,000 people, can I have, let's say, 100 people who are talking to 5 lakh people, or 1 lakh people? How can we do that? So you can have certain individuals whom you can appoint them. So, for example, there are people who are extremely social and they have very good social networks, and they can talk about your products in their societies, in their neighborhood, etc. You can appoint them as influencers, and then there are tools like Go App Pro, which is pre-integrated with the GlobalLinker account that you have, the GlobalLinker e-commerce website that you have, and using those tools, you can appoint those affiliates, you can appoint those influencers, and then they have to just simply spread a link. And when people are coming to your website, making a purchase, they are earning a commission, you are getting an order, and you haven't spent a dime, right? So those are innovative things that you have to think about. It don't just have a perception that, okay, now I have to hire a expensive celebrity to do influencer marketing. That is absolutely not. I have to think outside the box, right? So think at the bigger picture, how you can do that. And there are businesses who are doing this very powerfully. Now, how does influencer marketing work? So you have to define your target audience, identify your goals, find out the right influencer if you are doing the paid marketing one, develop a partnership agreement. So this is where what is better for you is not to just have an influencer whom you are giving money and they're talking about your product, but they also have a stake into that, right? So make them partner to it, create a campaign, launch the campaign, and measure and analyze results. So that is influencer marketing. Then you have Google Ads. Now, with respect to Google Ad, my personal suggestion is that if you want to use this particular channel, you should have some sort of understanding in terms of how it works. So do little bit of homeworks before getting into this domain. I'm not saying that you should get a certification done in Google Ads, but there's a lot of content available on YouTube itself, right? So I think there are 2 playlists from Google, about 14 videos which are there. If you go through those videos, you'll have very, very good understanding of Google Ads. So you should review all that information, have some sense, right? Don't get blindfolded. You don't know anything about it. So it's like you don't know how to fly an aircraft and you're trying to fly it. So don't do that. Have some understanding. It is not necessary you have to be perfect into it, but have some level of understanding, and then you go about it, because many people hire agencies to do that, but how things are performing, you may not know. So that's where have some understanding onto it, because that will not only help you in getting it executed better, or if you're trying to execute it yourself, you'll be able to do that. It is not a rocket science. You'll be able to do that. And I have seen people with lot lesser knowledge and education doing it very powerfully. So it is not like you can't do it, you can do that, but do your homework before you start doing it. Now, what are the different type of ads? So first one is search ad. You go to Google and start searching for something. That's where you'll see an ad on the top. With ad written on side of it, that is the search ad. Then you have display ad. So go to a website. So go to an e-commerce website, you look at a product, and then you are going everywhere. The same product starts appearing. That is the display ad network, although they are doing a remarketing ad there, but they're using the display ad network there. So those are the banner spaces which are available where you can display your banner as well, right? So that is display ad. Then you have shopping ads. So on the search, you have seen a shopping section. On the top of it, there are shopping ads which are visible. Then you have video ads which are played in the YouTube video. Then you have universal ads. These are displayed in the apps, in the gaming apps, etc. Then you have local service ads. So these are on Google Maps and searches. So near me sort of ads. How do you do Google Ads? So define your target audience, define your goals, research the keyword, set up your account, create ads group, set up your budget, launch your campaign, monitor edges, and analyze and optimize it. And here are the tools which you have to use for running Google Ads. So this will be all from my side in today's session. We have overshot our time by 7 minutes, but don't think that was a lot. I can see there were a lot of chats happening. All 100 plus chats have happened. Wow, that's amazing. Now, what are the questions do we have? So I can see there is it is a comment, not a question, from Omar, and he was not able to see the entire presentation. So in case you were not able to see that, don't worry, we'll be emailing it to you, the recording of the webinar, and you can review that. And if you want to review it right now, you can go to YouTube and search for GlobalLinker. We are live streaming it there. The next question was from Wasim. I think I have answered the question, so it will be emailed to you. The recording of this webinar will be emailed to you, and the link of this presentation, which I used in the session, will be in the description of that video. So it will be a YouTube video. In the description of it, you'll find the link. Next question is quite long, so I'm just reading it. So you have Richard, this is where there are two things that you can do. One is, and Richa is struggling with a campaign. They are trying to trying to do a campaign in Africa to generate leads. So this is where there are two things. The fundamental issue that I'm seeing here is again with the customer profile, and this has happened with us as well. So long time back, we were running a campaign, and that's where we were receiving leads for a lot of other things, and the realization was we haven't profiled it right. So that's where you have to tweak the profile. Now, how do you go about tweaking the profile? There are two ways to do that. One is you have AI tools. You can ask AI tool to help you create a perfect profile. So it should be able to share with you a lot of insights into it. And this is something that I'm sharing from my personal experience. For one of our client, I did that activity, and it was not 100% there, but it was like very close to an ideal customer profile, which we had been able to generate with a lot of effort and research, etc. So that is one thing that you can do. It is a quick fix that you can do. The second is obviously you'll have to do a research and try to understand what is the actual profile. There can be a difference in the age gap, or there can be different parameters that you would want to add, or there can be like a specific geographic region that you may have to focus rather than like keep spreading it wide. So try out different things, do a research, use different tools, and that should help you improve the customer profiling. The issue seems to be of the customer profiling. Next question I can see is from Nitin, and he's asking, we are doing marketing on our website, email, social media, etc. How can we do content marketing? So very simple form of content marketing is creating blog articles, right? So and create blog articles and then spread them out using the email channels or the social media channels that you have. That should help you with your search engine optimization, and that should help bring additional traffic onto your website. In addition to that, you can also create user-specific content. So, for example, benefits of your products, etc. So those kinds of content can be created and then disseminated or distributed through different channels. We need recording. So recording will be emailed to you in case you want recording of any of our previous webinars, etc. Those can all be found on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search for GlobalLinker. That's where you'll be able to find the recording. Next question from Richa is, what should be the ideal bounce rate? Now, bounce rate is something which theoretically is as low as possible. But the tolerance limit again varies from business to business. So, for example, marketplaces, they have like 60-70% bounce rate as the tolerance limit, whereas for an average business, 25 to 35% is the sort of range, but lower the better. It also depends on the kind of traffic which is coming to your website, right? So if you're having like 1,000 people visiting your website, and that's where you have a 35% bounce rate, so it may not be more, whereas 100 people coming and 25% bounce rate may be significant, right? So it also has an impact on the volume of the traffic that is coming, right? So the impact on your business varies depending on how many people that are coming to your website. But it varies from business to business. 20 to 35% is something which is there on an average, but you can take it down. I've seen businesses having like 5% bounce rates also. Pix brand has asked, what is the best conversion rate? It again varies, honestly. Industry average is somewhere around 2.5%, or even 1 to 2% is something that industry average is there. But I have seen like people achieve 5% or even 10%. So it all depends like how you're targeting your audience and how niche is your product, etc. So it again varies from product to product. But when you're doing your budgeting, etc., right? So just you can assume a 2% as the average conversion rate. The next question is from Nikhar. And my suggestion to you, Nikhar, is that firstly, understand how people understand your customers' behavior, how your typical customer, when they are looking out for products, how are they doing it? On all probability, being a B2B product, they will be doing a Google search. So I think your Google search ads should be a target. So you can have a geographic focused Google search ads, but again, you'll have to do a research and identify which are the words which are the search terms which are related to your products and how expensive they are, right? That's another area that you have to look at. And then based on that, you can start creating content. Another challenge that you have to also evaluate, because that is one challenge and which is quite obvious. So it is obvious for you. It is also obvious for your competitors. So what are the other channels? So for example, there may be associations. For example, there may be carpenters associations, or there may be contractors associations in certain regions or certain states. You can try to tap into them, reach out to them, or if you can secure their emailing list, you can start do emailing marketing, right? So you have to try out different channels which you can use. So search is an obvious one, but don't like put all your eggs there. Try to spread it out across different channels and try to go out of box and see how you can reach that audience. Now, Abhishek has answered a very or asked a very interesting question, and I love to answer this question. So, this is the question is for a customer's point of view, is it okay to have a multi-category store, or should we focus on a single category? Now, and this is something that a gentleman explained to me many years ago when I was like starting my career. So there are like two banks of river, right? So in between you have river, and you have one side and you have another side. Now on one side stands product specialist. On the other side stands the customer specialist. Now, if you're a customer specialist, and what is a common example of customer specialist? Amazon, Flipkart, etc. Right? They have the customers, or Meesho. So they have the customer. Now, for a customer specialist, it is necessary, or it is your duty, that you should have everything with you what your customer wants, if you're a customer specialist. Now, if you're a product specialist, then it is your duty to be present or visible across all the touch points. So whether your customer is wanting to deal with you physically, you should be in the stores, or if they're wanting to deal with you online, you should have a website, or if they are wanting to deal with you on marketplaces, you should be there, right? So as a product specialist, it is your duty to be present at every touch point which is out there, social media, etc., etc. So all the touch points which are there where a customer can possibly interact with you, you should be present on all those places. And as a customer specialist, you should be having everything. So it depends whether you're a customer specialist or whether you're a product specialist. If you're a product specialist, then you shouldn't spread out, but you should focus on spreading out your touch points, trying to expand or try to optimize or maximize the touch points that you're interacting with the customers across the spectrum wherever they want. Similarly, if you're a customer specialist, then you should try to have as many categories as possible. Hope I've answered this question. So I don't see any question there, but I can see there's a lot of interaction happening in the chat. Right. Thanks, Umar, for sharing so much insights with our audience. I can see there you have done a lot of hard work. I can see you have added so many chats. Thank you for that. And in case anyone in the audience wants to have more insights about the AI tools, etc. So I'd done a webinar some time back, and the recording of that webinar is available on our YouTube channel. So you can go to YouTube, search for GlobalLinker, and that's where you'll find the recording. You can search for AI tools which you can use. Very soon we'll do that webinar once again, because we are getting a lot of requests from our members that we should do that webinar once again with more updated tools. So we should do that. But any which ways, I think Umar has done a great job. He has shared a lot of insights with the audience here today. All right, so this is where I cannot see, or there is one question that has come up. All right, so this is one question, and I would love to answer that. So this is a question from Nikhar, and he wants to understand about GlobalLinker, and he has registered from through FIO GlobalLinker, which is our partnership with the Federation of All India Export Organization. So what I'll do is I'll very quickly take a minute to explain about the FIO GlobalLinker or the GlobalLinker platform itself. I'm just logging into one of the FIO GlobalLinker accounts so that he can relate to it. So I'll just quickly start sharing my screen. And in case anyone in the audience also wants to understand about the GlobalLinker platform, so we'll find this useful. Let's hide this. All right, so this is the FIO GlobalLinker account that I'm currently logged in. This is a demonstration account that I use for conducting my training workshops. Now, I'll very quickly take you through the GlobalLinker platform. So GlobalLinker, if you are looking at it, it has two legs or two pillars. One is what we call the community aspect, and the second pillar is what we call the commerce aspect. The community aspect is what you're seeing on the screen. This is where, as a business owner, you can connect and network with other business owners. How can you do that? So one is you have the search option. So for example, footwear. I'm looking for people who deal in footwear. So I can just go and search. Let me just show you certain companies. Now this is where you can go location wise. And for example, if I'm interested to see the footwear people from Philippines, I can see these are the people. I can message them, I can connect with them. That is one thing. Or we have add to contact feature here, which you can use, and you can search for people and you can network with them, right? That is the networking side of it. Now, in addition to that, you'll find this section very familiar. This is similar to what you see on different social media platforms, right? This is where you can see the different posts, etc., from different business owners. My internet is a little slow, so it is taking some time to load. Like this, you can see the different posts, etc., which are happening. Now, you can comment on to them. You can share your details, or you can understand who has posted this, and you can go to their profile. You can connect with them. So all that is possible on the platform. This is where, as a business owner, you are interacting, you are finding, connecting, networking, and you can also filter out these posts based on business opportunities. All posts or company posts are intranet, so your employees can also join, and you can have internal discussions also on GlobalLinker platform. That is about the posting part of it. There are a few other things that you can do. So for example, we have a knowledge section where you can go and you can review different articles about various aspects. So these are articles which are contributed by certain business experts or SME experts, and few are contributed by our team as well. So for example, Amy Radin, she is a renowned writer and she has written this article. So you can review these articles. We also have a section called SME Inspiration section. This is a very well received section in our articles. This is where we have published stories of different business owners, how they have overcome some mounting challenges and grow their business. Then we have groups. These are interest-based groups. You can join those groups and network and interact with other business owners. So this is where you can see there are so many groups which are out there. Then we have events. This is where you can see the different events which are happening. This is also a very well-received section. This is where you can see the different webinars. So for example, there's a webinar happening tomorrow, which I'll be conducting about Indian Business Portal. So you can register onto that. There are different webinars happening. You can participate into them. Now, this is not necessary that we are only publishing here. You can also create an event, and that can be a free event, that can be a paid event. You can also charge a subscription fee. You can even create your own event. So if you want, you can do that, physical, virtual, up to you. Then we have catalog, that is a B2B catalog or a B2B marketplace, which is forthcoming. And then we have offers. So this is where you have different offers which you can subscribe to. These are typically routinely used services which are required by business owners, and you can get them at deep discounted rates being a GlobalLinker member. So these are different offerings from the community side of it. On the commerce side of it, you have an online store which you can access. You can click here and you can create your online store. This is a full-fledged e-commerce website, and it is a dual-purpose website. So it can serve B2C and B2B, both of that. So that is one thing that you can do. Now, having an e-commerce website is one part of the story, right? So you are building a store, but you have to bring customers onto it. Now, one of the initiative on that aspect is Indian Business Portal, which is a platform which we have created in collaboration with the Federation of All India Export Organization, which is a premier export promotion body. So this is Indian Business Portal. Now, it aspires, or it is striving to showcase Indian exporters' products to global audience. So this is where Indian exporters are coming together, showcasing your products. So you have created an online store, which I showed to you earlier here. Sorry, I think there's some issue. So you created an online store here, and that online store's products are getting showcased here on Indian Business Portal. And then the international buyers are coming and they are sending requisitions, etc. So that is in a nutshell about GlobalLinker. Now, we are also part of ONDC. So if you are someone who's wanting to target domestic customers in the B2C space, that is another channel that we have added, and that should also get you visibility and additional orders and customers. All right. I hope I've answered that. Uh, Richard wants to know which tools are best for setting customer targeting. Chat GPT is something that you can evaluate. That is something that I personally have used, and I found it quite effective in terms of defining the customer profile. So next question from Nikhar is it free? So the entire community aspects that you saw, they're entirely free. On the online store, there is a freemium. So there are certain paid or premium features which are there. So the base platform is absolutely free forever. So you can use it, the online store, you can use it forever. But there are certain premium features. For example, auto currency switcher is one of the premium feature, or there's a B2B distribution channel management module that is a premium feature. So there are a bunch of premium features which are there. So if you want to use them, then you can subscribe to the premium package. Devaditya, this is where you have to understand a bunch of things. One is if you're doing email marketing and you know that the email list that you're doing, you using is really good. So then the content can, so one suspect can be your email solution that you're using. So there can be a scenario that the servers or the IP addresses of that particular solution providers are blacklisted by certain email platforms. So for example, if Google sees that there are a lot of emails which are coming from a particular server, they blacklist that server. So all the IPs got blacklisted, and then no matter how beautiful email you're writing, it will go to junk, right? So basically what seems that you have to ensure that whether you are getting in the inbox. That is the first thing that you have to ensure that the emails that you're sending, they are getting into inbox. After that, the next frontier for you is the content, right? How engaging is that email, right? Because even on the inbox, you have different partitions. So if you're able to reach to the audience, you have to keep it as engaging as possible, right? So how engaging is the content? You have to try out different subject lines. You have to try out different internal content so that you can keep improving it, right? In one shot, obviously, you may not be able to fix it entirely. You can start off with ensuring that it is reaching in the inbox. After you have ensured that it is reaching in the inbox, that's where you can start now creatively working with the content to like A/B testing sort of an activity. This is where you can try out one thing and see how it works. Try out different things, see it how it works, and then add what worked for both of them, and then create a third one. Keep repeating that. That's how you'll be able to gradually improve onto it. Okay. I hope I've answered that question. Now, this where I think we have overshot our time significantly. So I'll because I have to get into another session. So this is where I'll have to conclude this session now. Thank you everyone for taking our time and participating in this session. It has been a wonderful session and a very engaging audience as well. As I mentioned earlier, you'll all get an email with the link of recording of this webinar, and I will also, and the recording is also there on YouTube. So you can review that. Thank you everyone for taking out your time. Have a wonderful evening ahead. Bye-bye.